Demon Cringe. So today I wanted to talk about something that has been on my mind for quite some long ass time, I gotta say. I've been thinking about this for like months and I wanted to make this video because I really have not seen a lot of people talk about this stuff like this. Like, I already know that people have obviously talked about stuff like seasonal rot and animation style changes, but I have never seen anyone basically talk about these specific cartoons in such fucking detail, so I'm gonna be talking about 3 different cartoons in this video because I really did love them as a kid, and I honestly think that they should have ended a lot sooner because, yeah, seasonal rot. So I'm gonna be talking about 3 different cartoons in this video, namely Ed, Edd n Eddy, the Powerpuff Girls, the good one by the way, and Dexter's Lab. And now, of course, I really loved these cartoons as a kid, and I am honestly embarrassed at what the hell they have become in their latest stages. So with Ed, Edd n Eddy, fortunately the changes weren't as bad as the other shows on this list, not nearly as bad. The cartoon was definitely spared a bad animation style change, but in later seasons it definitely took a huge dip in quality. It really serves as a good example to end a show while it's still good instead of dragging it out to the point where the writers run out of ideas. Basically, the entire later half of the show is focused on the Eds being in school, and yeah, that's about it. Them being in school and trying to do stuff while they're in. I don't know. Now, the reason why this was such a bad idea is because take a look at the premise of the show. Basically, it's all about the Eds. They like jawbreakers, but they have no money, so they go through these elaborate, over-the-top ways to scam other kids out of their money. So you have these characters, right? Okay, these characters, they build stuff like a rocket car, for example, a giant skill crane, a huge cardboard city complete with civilian cutouts, and even their very own Statue of Liberty, for fuck's sake. You take these characters and you can find them to these tight little spaces, and obviously the excitement and just the overall fun factor of the show fades away. I mean, with the exception of a few good episodes like the one where they actually build a plane in order to try to skip school and stuff, but you know, those episodes in the later seasons, they're just few and far between. It's like in the earlier seasons the show revolved around 3 kids making blueprints and devising these huge contraptions and all that, and they basically brought it down to like trying to fucking get out of detention or some stupid bullshit like that. Like, obviously, making school-based episodes, you know, they could be like a fresh turn of events and all that. Oh, well, they're doing something different. And, in reality, it's just, you know, they try to change it into something that it's not, you know. They thought they could slow down the pace of the episodes and all that, and it just turned the whole cartoon into something that it's not. Now, fortunately, the later seasons didn't really ruin the show's quality. Now, I know that I listed off all these negatives, but it did not diminish the show's quality because people still remember it fondly and all that. The later seasons basically just told us that the show had a good run and it was time to come to an end before it gets even worse. It ended off on an awesome-ass movie where we finally saw Eddie's brother and learned that he was a huge dick to him. The other kids see that and decide to stand up to Eddie's brother and run him out of town. The Eds end up becoming friends with the other kids and the scamming finally stops. It truly was a great way to end the show, and I am so goddamn happy that they made that instead of ending it off on the boring school episodes. And now for our next show, the Powerpuff Girls. Yes, everyone, the Powerpuff Girls. Now, of course, the shitty reboot aside, it truly is an iconic show that deserves a lot of respect. Now, the show was originally made for girls, but it appealed to both genders because of the sheer amount of quality and variety it had in its writing and character development and all that. The animation style change in Powerpuff Girls wasn't all that bad, but they really could have done it better. Like, seriously. My overall biggest gripe with the animation change of the Powerpuff Girls is the fact that they made the colors way too bright. Like, seriously. They made the backgrounds as bright as the characters themselves, and it's not really easy on the eyes. Let's just say that. It makes it hard to like focus on one specific thing when everything is just the same level of yeah, you get the point. Now, the actual dip in quality started with season 5 as the episodes started to become more and more dull and simplistic with like really linear plot lines, boring dialogue. The characters have basically become two-dimensional. Now, in the earlier seasons of Powerpuff Girls, we had awesome episodes such as Dynamo, where the girls are outmatched by a monster, so they have to use a giant robot to fight it, which is one of my favorite episodes because of the huge amount of action and just how well the color palette was used in that episode. I mean, come the fuck on. You just take a look at one screenshot of this episode. Like the coloring is just absolutely amazing. Everything goes so fucking well. And then like the animation style change It's like it's supposed to move forward, you're supposed to advance, you know, you're supposed to make the show better by changing it, not worse. It's like, why? An episode where the girls race from school to home and they end up going so fast they go to the future, a reference to Back to the Future, and find themselves in a dystopia version of Townsville ruled by him. Like with Samurai Jack and Aku, this episode has been voted the most disturbing of them all, and even a Beatles reference episode that focused entirely on the villains, yes ladies and gentlemen, where the villains team up and form a group called the Beatles, and if that's not enough, they actually go and beat the crap out of the original Beatles.
Will the people in the cheap seats please leave? And the rest of you, hand over your jewelry!
I mean, what the fuck, man? You cannot go wrong with this shit, ladies and gentlemen. Is it possible? Now, of course, I'm not gonna say that the later seasons did not have any fun moments in them. But the thing is, the episodes were just so slow, linear, and monotonous. And like with Ed and Eddie, it really shows that the writers were just running out of ideas and basically doing the simplest of settings and storylines. Take for example the episode Girls Gone Mild, which in my opinion is the worst episode of the Powerpuff Girls in the history of mankind, for fuck's sake. Whoever thought up this episode should be slapped in the face, I swear to goddamn God. And the plot is that the professor gets visited by a couple of idiots saying that the girls are too violent, so the girls get in trouble because of their powers, which is the exact same thing that happened in the Town of Citiesville episode where they blow up the bridge and the mayor punishes them and says that they can't use their powers within the city limits. It's the same rehashed bullshit. Come the fuck on. Now, there is one thing I do like about this episode. I really do love the fact that it's basically a jab at the retarded soccer moms and helicopter dads who actually think parents have the right to dictate how kids cartoons should be made. But seriously, this episode is just a pathetic rehash. And what's even worse are the lame excuses for villains they actually introduce in this episode, called the Dukes of Doom, who ride into town and eat stuff.
Yummy garbage! Yummy
Yes, everyone, that's it. They don't rob people, they don't loot, they don't burn buildings, they just eat stuff. Yeah, I honestly have no words to say about this. Just wow. You know, everyone, if they only ended the show off at season 4. And now, finally, for the show that suffered the worst out of all these three, Dexter's Lab. Now, ironically, the show actually ended while it was still good, but a bunch of absolute morons took the IP and basically continued, or fucking whatever it is, and created this monstrosity. Now, on the Wikipedia page, it is listed as a direct continuation, but there's like a gap of a few years before they actually started producing more of it, and it is just so god-awful I refuse to accept it, okay? Which is why I'll just skip comparing it to the earlier seasons, and just judge it as its own standalone shitstain, because let's face it, this is not Dexter's Lab, okay? I refuse to believe that this is Dexter's Lab. This is basically, like, do you know that, the Chinese ripoff of Gumball? You know, like fucking, Miracle Star or whatever. This is basically like a Chinese bootleg ripoff of Dexter's Lab. And yes, everyone, if you thought I was exaggerating, no, I saved the worst for last. The animation style was piss poor, and the episodes were even worse. It was even worse than the Girls Gone Mild episode. Even worse than that, ladies and gents. Believe me. I'm really pissed off about this, because Dexter's Lab was one of the first cartoons I ever saw on TV. And the fact that it just ended up like this, I honestly cannot believe it. I want to shoot myself whenever I think about this piece of garbage. The Cartoon Network Dark Age started in the mid-2000s, so this was basically one of the proto-CN Dark Age shows, where the cartoons basically declined in animation and became watered-down comedies. Yeah, this is one of the precursors to the end. It kind of reminds me of one of those religious fanatics that stand around in soapboxes screaming, fucking abandon all hope, the end is nigh. Well, yes, the Dark Ages, yeah. With the new Dexter's Lab, you could definitely see that the Dark Ages were nearing. Now, I just want you to take a few seconds, okay? Take a few seconds and look at this side-by-side comparison. Take a look at how absolutely shitty, how ugly it is. Look at it! I mean, fuck! Seriously, this is just... oh... Like, the animation style went from this really nice, detailed style, with like a lot of care and effort put into it, to this like cheap looking fucking simple geometric shape garbage with fucking lazily colored backgrounds. I mean, take a look at this background. Like, what the fuck? This person failed fucking art class. Just look at it. The person who made this obviously cannot draw. Like, I refuse to believe that this person had an animation degree or like an art degree or whatever. This person needs to go back to preschool and reevaluate their life choices. Fucking crawl in a hole and die, you bastard. And just the episodes themselves, okay? The episodes, in my opinion, The Dukes of Doom is the worst episode in the Powerpuff Girls. But the thing is, with this new Dexter's Lab, there are just so many episodes that are god-awful. I want to put all of them as number one. Let's go through some of the worst. For example, there's this one episode where Dexter goes to college, and the entire joke is that Dexter tries to study while the other students are partying, and when he wants to party, all the other students are studying. That's it. That's the thing. That's the whole episode. Another really stupid one is where Dee Dee screws up a teleporting that Dexter's doing, and Dexter becomes Dee Dee's right foot. I am not shitting you. Again, this is... wow. And by the way, take a look at that fucking design. They really put some effort into that. I bet they went for this type of episode because they wanted to put as little effort into drawing one of the characters as they can. Now you probably think that nothing can top that, okay? Nothing can top an episode where Dexter becomes Dee Dee's right fucking foot. But I'm here to say that there's an even worse episode, yes. An episode with no story whatsoever, no dialogue, an episode that tries to be funny but fails with flying colors. This episode is entirely Mandark's Laugh. I am not shitting you. And if you don't believe me, take a look at it. Oh boy, I'm absolutely dumbfounded at the lack of effort they put into this episode. This just goes to show you, this episode is the literal, and by the way, I'm not trying to overuse that word, this episode is the literal spitting image of dragging out a joke to the point where you want to punch your fucking TV. And when I was a kid, I actually did punch the TV, and I really hurt my hand because I had one of those old bubble TVs and all that, but this was literal diarrhea. Now, what can we learn from this? What do these cartoons teach us? Well, for example, be sure to end the show while it's still good instead of milking it for all it's goddamn worth, which is what they did with Dexter's Lab until some idiots decided to take the IP and ruin it. And in the animation department, if you want to change something about your cartoon, like in the drawing style or animation or whatever, that's okay, but don't make any gigantic leaps, okay? Especially with long-running established shows. Like, if you make a show that's like only a few episodes in and you decide to completely change the animation style, that's fine. It's like, no one really cares, it's just a few episodes in. But you have these long-running established shows that people know, they know what they are, you know? They're like a home name, basically. And if you, like, do huge changes to it, it's like people aren't gonna recognize it. They're gonna say, well, this isn't this show anymore. I grew up watching this. I still watch this, but it's not this anymore. It's just something... ugh. Which is exactly what happens with Dexter's Lab. It's like, I literally refuse to acknowledge this as Dexter's Lab. It is a Chinese reboot of Dexter's Lab, that is it. Now, Ed, Edd n Eddy is a really good example of this, because they did not do any huge changes. They basically just made the colors more vibrant, so the characters would stand out more. They still kept the original style of, like, the shaky, thick outlines and all that, and this was really a good idea because it did bring change, but it didn't diminish the show's quality at all. But the changes in Dexter's Lab were so painfully ugly. They had zero effort put into it. It was only made as a cheap cash-in on people's nostalgia. Things like this will always happen, okay? And they will keep happening as long as there's corporate greed. And yes, everyone, creators wanting to stretch out shows because they want to milk it for all it's worth is corporate greed, because milking something is basically a corporatist mindset. But at least there are some shows that are spared the bullshit. Like, for example, Ed, Edd n Eddy, that actually ended in the best way possible, in my opinion. Like, the Ed, Edd n Eddy movie was the best way. It was the perfect way to end off the show because it offered actual closure. You know, it answered the show's biggest mysteries, like, for example, Eddie's brother. The Eds finally stopped scamming all the other kids, and the other kids basically became friends with the Eds. Everything closed and wrapped up so well. It was awesome. I love that fucking movie. And if any creators are wanting to end their shows, they gotta take notes from that movie, okay? So everyone, that's about it. I know this video got a little bit ranty at the end, mostly because Dexter's Lab was one of the first cartoons I ever saw, and it really pains me to see or even think about what became of it after these idiots took over the IP and all that stuff. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and press the little bell icon. And of course, I'm David Cringe, and I'll be seeing you guys and girls in the next video.